Now we will be starting with the next hormone, the growth promoter, accelerator, gibberellin. It is also known as gibberellic acid. Some people pronounce it as gibberellin, so it is on you how you pronounce it. It's gibberellin is basically the proper pronunciation. Children, it is found in different forms. Generally, it is gibberellic acid, so you write it as GA, GA1, GA2, GA3, but the most important one, which is actually studied at a higher extent, is GA3, right? The location of gibberellic acid, where it is present at the root, at the shoot, and the shoot apex, buds, the apical buds, the small leaves which are just blooming out, and the seeds, right? So when it comes to seeds, you need to understand that a proper cotyledonous seed is formed under the effect of gibberellic acid. We will be discussing all the effects one by one, but the most important one here, always remember, since it is a growth promoter and you study it after auxin, it is almost a supporter of auxin, right? So there are not much differences in the features. Whatever effects are there under the effect of auxin, similar features you would be finding here, except one or two differences. The first effect here is internodal elongation, and I have written the word bolting here, right? Children, you need to see that bolting is gibberellic acid just before the flowering. It very speedily, very rapidly, it allows the increase in the stem of this, the length of the shoot, the length of the stem is increased very excessively before flowering, and this phenomena is known as bolting, which is the result of a gibberellic acid, right? That's why when we know that, okay, this internodal, you can understand this by a diagram here. What are the nodes and internodes? When you draw a stem, you always draw these swollen areas at regular intervals. So these are the nodes, and this gap between the two nodes is internode. So gibberellic acid basically works here in order to increase the length of these areas. So just imagine that in between the two nodes, every internodal area, if it elongates, so ultimately it will lead to the increase in the plant length. And before flowering, the excessive increase in the plant length, that is known as bolting. And that's why we use this hormone particularly in horticulture. Horticulture is the branch of agriculture that deals with the cultivation of vegetables and fruits, right, children? And it also brings about the leaf expansion. That means the size of the leaf is also increased under the effect of gibberellic acid. Second one is it promotes the fruit growth. Similarly, the way auxins do promote the growth of the fruit, similarly gibberellin is also responsible for fruit growth. The third one here is breaks the seed dormancy and promotes germination. You must have noticed that when we have to keep the pulses, the whole pulses, like black gram is there, or you see the pea seeds are there, or you see that chickpea, in Hindi you call it chola or rajma, that is kidney bean, right? We keep them, they are very hard, they have a tough seed coat over them, and they are completely dried, and what we can do, we can keep them for a longer time inside the airtight container, right? Seed dormancy, why I am telling you all this, because seed dormancy is an inactive state of seed where it will not be germinating even if you provide it a favorable condition, right? Generally, the favorable conditions for a seed is optimum temperature, amount of water is the most important thing which is needed here, right? And apart from that, the nutritious additives. But the thing is, gibberellin is something. Seed dormancy is a natural phenomena. When you see those seasonal flowers, suppose you talk about dahlia. Dahlia is a flower that is basically grown with the help of bulbs, right? In the favorable season, the germination occurs and the shoot comes over the soil surface. But even when the dahlia season is not there, at that time the bulbs are still embedded in the soil, but they will not be germinating. So water is there, temperature is there, but you are not seeing that sprouting or germination in Dahlia. Why? Because that is the dormancy period, right? Dormancy period is the inactive state of inactivity where the seed will not be germinating even if it is provided with the favorable conditions. So here but seeds do germinate after some time. I mean, when they get the favorable condition, they do germinate, and this is under the effect of gibberellic acid, right? uh, Next one is delays senescence. The way auxin delays senescence, that is aging, similarly gibberellins also delay senescence. Another one is induced parthenocarpy. I've already explained what is parthenocarpy, and here this is a more potent hormone to induce parthenocarpy. I mean, it is stronger than auxin to induce parthenocarpy in the fruit. In grapes and apple, it elongates the length of the fruit, particularly grapes. The elongated, and initially we used to see those round grapes, but now in the market you can see those elongated grapes, which are quite sweeter and they look nicer too. And that is under the effect of gibberellins only. And apple, the overall length and width of apple is also due to gibberellins. The last word here is used for malting in breweries. Now, what is malting and what are the breweries? Breweries are the outlets where basically the beverages are formed, particularly those which are fermented beverages like beer and wine, right? Malting, what do you mean by malting? Malting means when you are, this is the state of controlled germination. Controlled germination means, suppose you have taken barley water is basically the beer water. Suppose you have taken it and you have allowed germination, and once the germination is there, now you will be controlling the germination. It will not be growing more and more. At slight germinating state only, all those barley seeds are dehydrated, they are dried and they are fermented thereafter, right? So malting is a state of controlled germination and drying so that it can be used for fermentation in breweries, right? I hope gibberellins are clear to you. And followed by the last one is cytokinin. This is the last category of growth accelerators, cytokinins. The word itself says many things. It's cyto means cell and kinesis is the division of cytoplasm. That means this hormone brings about cell division, right? It is, now please see the location. Auxins and gibberellins are present at the meristematic areas, that is root tip and shoot tip, but cytokinin is specifically produced in root tips, and when it has to get transported all along the length of the plant, it will be joining the xylem channel. This hormone was given by Skoog and Miller. You have to learn this. And ultimately, you have to come to the effects of cytokinins. The first one is stimulate cell division. As I've already told you, that's cytokinesis. The word says the division of the cytoplasm. Delays aging. All growth accelerators, the one who is promoting growth will never allow its aging. It will keep the plant alive as long as possible, right? But it is not a natural phenomena, because the one who has taken birth, who has grown, is supposed to die one day. So we always have a team of growth accelerators and growth inhibitors too. But as of now, accelerators, so all three accelerators, auxins, gibberellins and cytokinins, they will be delaying the aging and senescence. Breaking the seed dormancy is the common feature for all three. All three break the seed dormancy. And then resistance against chilling or heat injuries. Now, when the temperature is very much low or very much high, scorching heat is there. In that case, the plants, they could not survive much. Scorching heat causes the bleaching of chlorophyll. Chilling injuries, they do not allow, I mean, physiology is suspended. The process of, I mean, the absorption rate, the stomatal opening and closing, everything is actually enzymatic activity. Enzymatic activity is always suspended at chilling temperatures, and it is denatured at hot temperatures. So this temperature fluctuation basically affects the plant growth adversely. But cytokinin, since it keeps on dividing the plant, new plant cells, I mean, one after the other, so it provides resistance to the plant against these injuries. Another one is it inhibit apical dominance since cell division occurs in all direction. So it's not particularly about the apex area. Therefore, cytokinin is the one which can allow the growth of lateral branching rather than the apical one, right? Always remember there are two words: the main branch having the tip, apical tip, that is the apex, and when you talk about the lateral branches you use the word axillary. You understand it this way, children, that when you are drawing a stem and this is the main stem, it's growing further and further and further. So every time it grows, the tip of this plant will be the apex. Please understand this word. And if you have the branching, right, so this point will be known as axil. Therefore these are the axillary branches and this is the apical bud, right, children? Then chlorophyll synthesis, cytokinin has a very important feature of increasing the chlorophyll synthesis inside the chloroplast. Why? Because more chlorophyll will lead to more photosynthesis. Expansion of cotyledons, seeds are there, and every time the cells of the seeds are dividing, they will be allowing the increase in the size of the cotyledons. And the last one is development of embryo after the fusion. I mean, you will be studying in higher classes that every seed has a living point where the germination occurs. You can understand it this way again, that suppose if this is just hold on, I should use a brown color here. Suppose if this is the black gram seed, right, and you always have a line in between, and here there's a point, you call this point a hilum, right? In class 9th you must have studied this. Water enters through this pore and somewhere near will be the micropyle, right? If you don't understand these terms, let me know, I'll make them clear in the the live class. Always the water gets in through this point, children, and you, whenever you see that this black gram sprouts, it sprouts from this point, this way. Yes, so if it never sprouts here or here, no, right? So why? Because we always know that within this seed there is a point near hilum which is a living embryo content, and this living embryo content basically leads to germination. And who allows this development? Cytokinins, right? Here I conclude the video. If you have got anything which is not clear to you, kindly let me know and I'll be solving all your problems, right, children? Kindly note this down in somewhere in your notebook. Just pen down the notes so that later on a brush up is easier for you. Thank you.